Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Ian Practice. For props for today, a strap will likely come in handy, maybe a couple of hard blocks and a soft block as well. And when you're ready, we'll get started in a dangling shape, so standing forward fold. So you can have your hard blocks nearby. If you'd like to start off in a more upright position, maybe in a halfway lift shape, you're welcome to begin over here. Maybe check in with the backs of the legs, give the hips a little movement. If you feel ready to start off in your fold, then go for it. Keep as much of a bend to the knees as you need. And again, you might start off with a little movement, maybe pedaling the legs or swaying the spine, the torso. And don't worry about how bent or extended the legs are. Find something that feels like a nice stretch in the body without causing any pain through the low back or anywhere else. And let the head hang nice and heavy here. If you like to add a bind, or if you like to take the hands to the head or interlace behind the skull, anything like that, then go for it. And let the body settle in here, close down the eyes. And if you have a bind, you can gently release that and come and find a halfway lift shape, maybe hands to props or to the legs. And take a moment to lengthen here. Gently bring the shoulder blades onto the back and center. Lengthen the backs of the legs, lengthen the spine. Awesome. And then from here, we'll take a big step back with the left foot, so maybe hands to props for this, and then lower the left knee down to the floor. You might need to heel toe that right foot a little bit further forward, and then start to bring the hips back in space and extend that right leg towards straight. So find your version of this shape, and again, you're welcome to take the base even longer or maybe a little bit shorter. If the back knee needs some padding, if that would make the shape more comfortable, then go for it. And if you want, you can also bring the spine a little more upright. So if folding deeply over the leg isn't working for you, try it out with a taller spine, and maybe that stretch will feel better in your body. And take a moment to check in with the pelvis here. What can happen is sometimes that right hip starts to lift up and the left hip goes kind of down and back. So see if you can keep the pelvis roughly kind of in line side to side. So maybe a gentle encouragement of that right hip back in space. If you are folding and you'd like to round the upper spine, then go for it. The head can hang nice and heavy. Make sure it's a pain-free expression in your body. And be with your breath, be with your experience. As you feel ready to, you can gently lift the spine back up. Maybe we're dragging that right foot a little closer to help you rebend the knee. And then take a big step forward. Come to your forward fold, but just enough that you can just find a little counter stretching. Maybe release the leg. You can come in and out of a squat a couple times, see what that feels like. And then when you're ready, we'll set up the second side. So you can take a big step back with the right foot, lower the right knee down to the floor. And then again, check in here as you bring the hips back, extending the left leg towards straight. You might need to lengthen the base. You might need to pad the back knee a little bit. And we're not completely symmetrical side to side, so this side may need slightly different support, or maybe here you want to be in the taller spine rather than the fold. If finding a little movement between the two helps you settle, then go for it. And then take that check-in for the pelvis here as well. Make sure that the left hip is roughly even to the right hip. And settling into your pain-free expression as you're ready. All right, slowly start to walk the hands back in, lift the spine, maybe dragging that left foot a little closer so you can step forward. And again, take a few breaths, move that out any way you need, stillness, movement. Awesome. And then from here, you can slowly bend into the knees and lower the pelvis down to the floor. And we're actually going to lower down all the way to the back, but just to make sure you have your props nearby. So if you're using a strap today, you might keep it as a loop. I find it easier to just have it as like one long string. And then maybe your hard blocks, one to either side, just in case they're handy later on. And then coming all the way down to your back. And take a minute to get comfortable here. Awesome. And we'll play with the left leg first. So the right knee can stay bent, right foot to the floor, and we'll loop the ball of the left foot into the strap. And take a moment just to ground the pelvis down, especially if the hips lifted up, and give yourself enough slack that the shoulders can stay soft to the floor. So for the first stretch, we're going to take both ends of the strap into the left hand and then slowly start to open the left leg over towards the left. Now, if you've done this before, you know sometimes the leg will end up somewhere that feels a little bit uncomfortable to sustain. So you could experiment with using your hard block to make yourself a little shelf, and it may need you to adjust it, you know, a little closer, further away, up or down, or whatever else. So take your time and you can slowly come into the pose. As a kind of counterweight, you might wing the right knee out towards the right, and you could also reach the right arm out towards the right. As you lower the left leg down towards the left, you might even imagine slightly externally rotating the leg, so pointing those left toes a little bit more towards the floor, and then see what that feels like. And now you may end up making yourself a kickstand with the left elbow, and then maybe that helps you keep the leg steady, or maybe you're touching it down onto your prop. And if there's anything that needs a little adjustment, then go for it. Otherwise, find your stillness here. Now, as you're thinking of bringing the left leg back up to center, it might help to bend the knee a little bit first, but check in to see what feels better. So you can start to lift the leg back up, and you can use the right hand to help it as well. We're going to go straight into the next shape. So this will be a twist. So you're welcome to extend the right leg towards straight now, and you might also scoot the hips a little bit over towards the left. Again, you can use your block any way you like on the right to support the leg. Now we'll take both ends of the strap to the right hand and then slowly start to bring the leg down across the body. Left arm can be a counterweight straight away. So again, maybe you're using the right elbow as a kickstand. Maybe you're using the prop to support the leg. Left arm can reach towards the left or cactus or reach to the floor overhead. If you like to take the gaze down away from or away down towards the left, then go for it. Thinking about exiting this side, you can bring the head back to center. And again, you might bend the left knee first. And slowly you can release the strap, unravel back to midline, and scoot the pelvis to center, and then it might feel nice to windshield wiper the knees a few times. If there's any other kind of counter stretch you'd like, then go for that. And then when you feel ready, we'll set up to do all of that on the second side. So looping the right foot now. And somewhere around the ball of the foot, wherever feels the most comfortable. Extending the leg, making sure you have enough slack so that the shoulders stay soft. And then when you're ready, we'll take both ends of the strap into the right hand. You can wing the left knee out towards the left, and then slowly start to lower the right leg down towards the right. And it might land on a prop. You might need to adjust it a little bit. And straight away, if the left arm wants to reach out left, then go for it and find whatever feels the most comfortable for this side. And again, if it was helpful on the first side, you might visualize a slight external rotation through that right leg, so toes pointing a little bit more towards the floor. And think about your exit from this side, maybe giving yourself a little more slack. Maybe the left arm comes to help as well, bringing the leg up to center. And then we'll set up for that twist. So from here, you can extend the left leg long down the mat. Maybe you're scooting over to the right a little bit. And then slowly, with the straps to the left hand, start to guide the right leg across the body, maybe to come land on your other prop. Right arm can reach right or to the floor overhead, mirror whatever you did on the first side. And then settle in here, find your breath. Be with whatever you're feeling. Slowly thinking about coming out. You can bring the head back up to center. You can release the strap or bend that right knee and slowly roll the leg back to midline. Scooting the hips to midline as well, and then see what feels like a nice release. Maybe that windshield wiper. Maybe you want to bring the knees into the chest and you can rock that way. You can see if there's any last counter stretch that feels nice. And then when you're ready, we'll sit up for our last shape. So for Shavasana for today, you're welcome to take a traditional lying down shape. Otherwise, you're welcome to join me in waterfall pose. So this is like legs up pose with a little bit more height under the pelvis. So you can also do regular legs up pose. If you have a wall space you like to use, you can do legs up the wall as well. So set yourself up, bring the feet roughly underneath the pelvis, and then lift the hips just enough that you can slide 1 or 2 blocks underneath. And straight away, make sure that this feels comfortable for you. Even here, if you'd like to stay in a restorative bridge shape for part of it, you're welcome to. Otherwise, lifting one and then the other leg up, and then just notice to see what this feels like. Extending the legs any amount towards the ceiling, and if it feels like the props are in the wrong spot, you can play around, maybe lower the legs, move them up or down, or if you need a softer block on top, then go for that. And then see if you can make this as effortless as you can. So don't worry too much about what shape the legs are in, if they're extended or not. Even if the knees are bent quite generously, that's fine. But just make sure that the legs, it doesn't feel like you're working hard to hold them up. If you want to take the arms up towards the ceiling as well, then go for that. Otherwise, maybe hands stay resting on the body or to the floor overhead. And then check in here, see if there's anything that's working that doesn't have to be. Maybe it can soften a little. And check in as well. Maybe this shape feels great and maybe it doesn't, and you want to rest somewhere that feels more restful, and that's fine too. So be wherever you need to be and settle yourself in. Gently bring your attention back to this space. If the arms are lifted, you can lower them down. And if the legs are lifted, you can bring one foot, then the other down to the floor. Just one counter stretch for the hip flexors here. So you can keep both blocks if you're still using 2 or lower to 1. And then think about extending the legs long down the mat. And take a few deep breaths here, maybe hands resting on the pelvis, let the legs soften. And once the blood has returned to the legs and you feel ready, you can walk the feet in, lift the hips to remove any remaining props, and maybe roll down to one side for a couple of breaths. And with the support of the hands, coming up to find any comfortable seat. Using any of your props here. As you find your seat, settle yourself in, keep the spine nice and tall, and take a check-in, a scan through the body just to notice. Perhaps connecting the hands in at the heart and bowing the chin in towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. My name is Nicholas, and thank you for joining me for Yin practice. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your day.